I do believe that Clifton Forge is moving forward. It's a slow pace, and I realize that. Probably a lot slower than some or most of you'd like to see it happen. But it took a long time for it to get where it is, and it's going to take a little bit longer time to bring it back to where it needs to be. But the main thing that will make that happen is exactly what she's talked about tonight, and that's community involvement. It's you know, yes, we're the government of the town, but you are the town. This is your town. We're here as the people that you have, or the council that you have elected to represent you in your government, and we're here as people that have been hired by those council members to lead the town. But we can only lead the town so far without support from you, and we've been given that support. And really evolving recently, I think in great part through these community gatherings, an opportunity for people to come together and talk together. Some of the questions that I'm going to give answers to from the May meeting or the previous meeting, all would be greatly enhanced for the future outcome with help from citizens. And one of the biggest things that I've seen since we started having these community gatherings, and the big thing that we've talked about at every one of these gatherings is code enforcement. It's been a topic of conversation at every one of these meetings. And I think at the last meeting, I made a statement that it would be very helpful if you, as the people that live in the community, would help and reach out to us and let us know when there's a problem. And just want to give you a couple of statistics on that before we get to the questions, Gail, if I could. So, in June, for storage and trash violations, open storage and trash violations, there was only 16 letters written for the month of June. For the month of July, and this data was compiled on the 11th day of July. As of July the 11th, 41 letters of violation for outdoor storage and trash violations have been written. 57 letters in total, 8 of which are being second notices. And I know you probably don't know the process, but the second notice letters are the letters that tell them they have a certain amount of time to comply, or the next information they will hear will be from the magistrate with a subpoena to go before the judge to find out why they should not be forced to comply, or why they should be forced to comply. Grass violations. For the month of June, 20 letters for grass violations went out. By July the 11th, for the month of July, 32 letters for grass violations have gone out. 52 letters total, and 50% of them, with 26 of them having already been mowed by town personnel. When you get a letter of grass violation, or weed violation, or shrubbery violation, the process is you have 10 days to rectify that situation. At the end of the 10 days, the town cuts that property, sends a bill to the property, registered property owner. If they fail to pay the bill, there's a lien placed on the property, so if it's ever sold, the town will be reimbursed for that money. But I think that the point that I want to make tonight is, you see those numbers have greatly increased and recognized and addressed violations. And that's because of people becoming involved and letting us know. It's a simple phone call. We do not divulge who made the call. We actually go and investigate the situation ourselves. I investigated 2 today. And we make the determination if in fact there is a violation, and then we deal with it. So that is one point of community involvement that I can greatly see an improvement in on both our part in responding to those complaints and in your part helping us to realize those complaints. So, Chris, you're helping a great deal with code enforcement right now because we're still looking for a code enforcement person. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, you pretty much covered it all.
And while I'm talking about that, I'd like to just say that, you know, we've had one application for the code enforcement / community development position that we've advertised. We've expanded our advertising for that to farther reaching papers. At one time it was just locally being advertised. Now it's being advertised in Roanoke and Richmond on the VEC website, and we've posted it on the Indeed job seekers website. So we've cast the net wider to try to bring some interested people here. Feel like we can offer them a competitive salary with a competitive benefits package and get the person that has the right fit for Clifton Forge. So, Gail, how do you want to do this? Do you want to read the questions from the previous meeting, or do you just want me to read them and respond to them as I do?
Whichever way you like.
If you have them.
I have them. Okay, first one is, when will we be able to pay water bills online?
Right now, there's no plans to be able to do that. The finance department doesn't feel like they're in a position to take on that role at this time. Not to say that it won't happen in the future, just not right at this present time.
Can I say something? That I pay mine through my bank, so it's online as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not, I'm hoping a lot of people are just doing it because their bank is a regular banking payment practice.
And that's fine. We have those payments come in on a monthly basis, but I think this question particularly addresses take your debit card or your credit card and pay your account directly to the town of Clifton Forge online and not do like you're doing with your automatic bank pay.
Okay, the next one is, what can the town do to help our teens who have little to do in Clifton Forge? Improve the skate park, ? Sponsor movies at Masonic on Thursday, Friday, or Saturday night, ? And I'll just say that I did pass on that suggestion about sponsoring the movies for teens to our executive director. So that has been passed on.
Well, and I personally think that this is another one of those areas that we need some help with. You know, it would be great if anybody who had ideas on activities for teens or what they would be interested in to please step up and toss the idea out there. And sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, but send us, give us your recommendations, see what, if any of them, we can accomplish, and we'll be happy to ask you to work with us and make that happen and walk through that process. And, I think that there's a group here tonight that can tell you that we're open to suggestions. When, about a year ago, a couple of ladies showed up and had a really great idea to develop a love sign. At that time it was a love sign for Clifton Forge. And look at what it's evolved to. Look at what it's evolved to. It's going to be a showplace. It's going to be a great addition to the town. Gail?
If I may ask the question, have you tried to do a meeting with some of the young people of the town to find out what they would interest in?
In recent times, no, sir, but and my understanding is in past times, those meetings have not been successful at all.
Well, but it doesn't mean you can't try again. The community room in the library is open.
Never said we wouldn't try.
No, but I
Okay.
sit down by the library and by the little convenience store, and I would hope that they,
Gail?
offer pizza or something, or way to talk about stuff.
Keep trying.
These questions came from the May community gathering, and they were written on the index cards. And during that community gathering, we talked The question about goals for the council came up, so this is a follow-up question. We heard the council goals. Are these goals made public to the residents of Clifton Forge? Are they made with input from the residents?
Well, first, to the first part of that question, the council goals are very much available to the public. They're discussed at a council meeting. Actually, they're discussed at a couple of council meetings before council votes on them to accept them as their goals for that year. I cannot speak for the council members themselves, but I'm reasonably certain that based on the goals that I've seen and some of the ones that have been accomplished by council for this year, that they were all fueled and ignited by input from people in the town that have had conversations with the council members. And, you know, that's exactly what it should be. Council bringing the residents' thoughts and wishes and wants back to the group, and the group making a decision as the best way they want to proceed with that.
Next question, how can residents make anonymous code violation complaints?
Actually, as far as we're concerned, all code violation complaints are anonymous. We don't divulge who called. Even when we go to the residents, they'll say, did so-and-so call? We're not going to divulge who called. All that's going to do in a lot of cases is plot neighbors against neighbors and relatives against relatives, and that's not what we're about. We're just about to get the problem cleaned up and enforce the code. And so really any code violation that's reported, I believe that I know that it's handled as an anonymous complaint. And Chris, you agree with that, right?
Okay, next question, how do the council and other bodies in Clifton Forge work to be more inclusive within the public office? Are diverse community members welcome? Do diverse community members feel welcome?
Well, everyone is welcome to participate at whatever their comfort level is. Hopefully, everyone feels like they are welcome. I really can't address how someone else feels to the question of do diverse community members feel welcome. I would certainly hope that everyone does feel welcome. There's an open door policy at Town Hall. There's no closed doors. Anybody can walk in anytime and visit with me unless I'm already tied up with someone. Numerous people in this very room have done that very thing. You know, and I'm sure that any of your council members would be more than happy to spend time with anybody in the community and talk through things. You know, I hope that when someone doesn't feel like they're welcome, or someone feels like that they've been shunned, that to be brought to our attention. We are working collaboratively with another group in town and trying to overcome some of the obstacles that we've seen and take care of some diversity issues on that front. But I really hope that everybody feels welcome. We want you to be welcome. We want to feel welcome wherever we go, and we want you to feel the same way.
Next question. It's 2022. What expectations does the town manager have for staff and himself for answering email? It's also another question, and council members as well. Some days or the same week. So the answer, he's answering it. Some day or the same week, excluding vacations. It's about customer service.
And it is about customer service. The expectation at Town Hall, in my office and the offices at Town Hall, with the police department I know, and the public works department, and pretty much every department in the town, we strive to return that call or email within 24 or the same day. Obviously, there are some days that is just absolutely not possible. today would have been one of those days. We could not have gotten a call back today. But certainly within 24 hours, we try to make that contact back. Sometimes it doesn't happen that quickly, but we strive to make that contact back as soon as possible, because really every contact we have is time sensitive, and everybody's issues or questions need to be dealt with in a timely manner. I can't speak to the expectations for what council members have for this response. I think based on the council members and as well as I know them, I think they all tend to be pretty responsive to their folks in town, and we'll certainly try to get back to them as quickly as they can. Again, I can't speak for them, but I think that they're very dedicated. I think they are very dedicated and town-oriented folks that want to take care of the people in this town.
Okay, I think you have the answer to this one. When will the pickleball court be done?
Pickleball courts are open, being used, and as an added caveat, we have a charity match, or throwdown, if you will, between our mayor, Jeff Urban, and the vice mayor, David Crozier of Covington, for a pickleball match. That's being coordinated with Courtney Howard through the Parks and Trails Committee, and the proceeds, whatever they are from that match, will go to the benefit of the up-and-coming All Abilities Park that is planned for development in Clifton Forge. Jeff, you want to get up and brag about that match? Not really? Okay. Make sure the rescue squad's there. Is that for you or for Mr. Crozier? Okay. And that's all those questions, right, Gail?
No, we've got a few more.
Okay.
You did speak about this earlier, I think part of this question. Please update on the status of hiring a new code enforcer and a community and economic development director. Are these two separate jobs, and will they be hired independently of each other?
Actually, right now, we're trying to make it a hybrid job. And the reason we're trying to make it a hybrid job is we can combine the two salaries, offer a more competitive salary, and hopefully attract a person with more experience in that field. If we find that we're going to be unsuccessful with that being a hybrid position, we will back up, divide those positions, advertise them independently of each other, but realizing that we may not be able to attract the same type of applicants because of the lesser salary packages that we can offer on a separated job.
What's the time period for that?
Hard to give a time period. We're waiting to get the applications. As I said earlier, we've cast a much larger net to spike interest in that position, and hopefully we'll start getting some applicants in pretty quickly. But the position is going to be open until it is filled, and I know that's a cop-out, but we don't have a time limit that we're going to stop looking. We're going to keep looking until we find somebody for that position. I saw a hand back here, I think in the shadows.
Concern with rolling those two positions together is that they're very different skill sets. And so you want your economic developer to be inviting and encouraging and lively and working with people in that kind of scope. And your enforcer, kind of by nature of a title of enforcement, isn't necessarily that same skill set. So I am concerned that making it hybrid might be problematic for us as a community to really get the kind of development director that I think would serve us well.
Well, come down and share your thoughts and let's talk about it. How about that? And we'll try to come up with a plan together on that. We do have an opportunity that We may be able to bring on a code enforcer on an internship that we're looking at very early on in the negotiation right now, that would actually free that part of that job up for a period of about a year and a half. So we could focus more on a community development individual.
Okay, 2 more questions, but this next one has about 20 parts to it. Please explain how the comprehensive plan is used for the town. Do council members review the plan periodically? How can people obtain a copy of the plan? Do you feel the plan gives a direction to the town and elected officials regarding the path that the town should take?
Okay, you're probably going to have to repeat some of those as we go through this. The Clifton Forge has a 5-year comprehensive plan. It does have a very detailed and effective guide for the goals of the community and how to move it into the future. We do refer to the comprehensive plan frequently when we're looking at decisions for the future of Clifton Forge. I don't know, again, I can't say whether each individual council member reviews that plan independently of each other, but I do know that we have discussion on that. I will say that the comprehensive plan is coming up to the end of its time frame. It has to be renewed in 2023. There's been discussion through the Planning Commission that we need to start looking at that. So that's going to be coming up in the next couple of months to get that started. And it usually takes about a year or a little bit more than a year to complete the comprehensive plan. But it does give a very detailed guide as to the desires and the needs as have been identified at that point in time to move Clifton Forge forward. What other parts did I miss, Gail?
How do you obtain a copy?
Well, everything that we have, except for personnel information, is public record. So comprehensive plan, it's about 3 inches thick. We'll be happy to provide you with a copy. I have several copies on the credenza in my office for folks to stop by and ask for a copy. We don't have it available electronically, so if you want a copy, you will have to come by town hall to pick it up. But it's all public record. It's available.
It's on the town website, isn't it?
It is, but I'm not sure that it is. I don't think it has all of the entailed pictures and things on the website as it does in the printed form, Diana. I think that might be missing.
But it's available at the library too, right?
I'm assuming, yes, I don't know that for sure.
Okay, one last question that came previously, and then we can open it up to questions from the audience. Last question is, what progress is being made to get new tenants for the Primus Bank building? Is the town working with the board of Primus Bank to seek new occupants?
At this point, we've been informed that they have someone interested in that building. They have not disclosed to us who that is, but we have been in touch with Primus Bank. We have encouraged other interested parties to reach and provide contact information for the folks at Primus Bank so that the contact can be made. I'm reasonably confident that they are also actively marketing that building. I know that there is one individual who has local ties, that has a family member that is in communication with them at this time about purchasing the building, but nothing has been confirmed with us as to any definite future plans at this point.
So if you want to invite other questions.
I'll answer some questions if anybody has any. I can't see you, so somebody else is going to have to identify you, so.
You can't see it.
Go ahead.
I have a question. I'm Diana Smith. I think it was 2 gatherings ago, and this is for Chief Wickline. I asked about a vehicle that's parked across from the Catholic Church, a black SUV with Georgia tags on it that's been parked there, I'm told, for a year and a half. At that time, the last time when I spoke about this, I was told by Officer Balzer and by you, Chief Wickline, that it was going to be taken care of. It still sits there.
It still sits there, we can give people tickets all day long. I mean, we can't force them to actually get their tags. I'm gonna step away this way. We can't force people to renew their tags. It's an out-of-state vehicle. We can give them parking tickets for being parked on the curb, which has been done. But I mean, as far as them actually coming and paying a $20 fee for not having a vehicle license, I mean, we can't actually hold them hostage and say, look, you've got to get this done. So, and we can't tell it because it has to be actual moving violation for us to be able to do that. And just to touch on some of the stuff that Chuck was explaining with code enforcement, I get a lot of people that comes in the police department and they want to give us codes. There's a gray area between law enforcement and codes in which each other can do. I think we all work well together in trying to solve the issues, whether it be a law enforcement issue or whether it be a code enforcement issue. But it's kind of at this point in the juncture trying to find somebody, we're actually running pretty thin. And as Chuck said earlier, you know, this is a marathon, it's not a race. But I think collectively, the town's best interests are put forward. The slideshow that was presented earlier, the pedestrians walks, people just want to know, you know, why did we do that? Well, me and Chris was discussing it, the little signs that we had to move them for snow removal, we had to move them for parades. People hit them, they got run over, and for the most part, they were pretty pricey. So we figured out what would be the best for the town financially and longer lasting, and that's when we decided to actually put the signs in the streets. So, does that answer your question?
But it's not a stolen vehicle or something, I mean.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
But have they been ticketed?
Yes, ma'am.
Have they paid the ticket?
I'm not sure.
They live in the second house.
I know exactly where they live. I walk past it every day. About that.
Yes,
7 blocks from us.
that's the other thing that concerns me is, yes, you drive past it at least twice a day.
Sure. I give Martha a junior police officer badge. Come out of the office. Sign it.
Can I ask another question of Chris?
Yeah.
I also sent an email back in May about grass in my neighborhood. One portion is owned by a citizen. The other portion is the town's responsibility. To date, neither one of these properties has been mowed.
Which address? I mean,
Well-
give me a little bit better description of
Bath
what
Bath Street and 2nd Street between Allegheny and Bath.
Okay, yeah. So I know where you're talking about. The private property letter's been sent. And as for the town's property, if it's over behind that ditch, it's the place I'm thinking you're talking about. We don't go beyond that rock ditch. We do mow the shoulder of the road. You gotta keep in mind, I only have 10 people. And right now our plate's full. This is our busy time of year. It is gonna take us longer to get to some things than others. I'm not gonna lie about that.
I fully understand that, but it's difficult for homeowners who receive bills where you have mowed their grass when there's town property that hasn't been mowed by the town.
Is it an accessibility issue with the ditch?
If it's where she's talking about, it should be accessibility. If I think
I'm
it's what
talking about by the street, by
you're talking about like right by the street.
Yes, right by the street.
They just had the tractor out. I haven't been up there. Have they not mowed it?
No,
All right, we'll look into that.
thank you.
You're welcome.
And I have one final question for Chuck, and that was
Are
talk.
you gonna cover us all
I will
tonight?
cover you all. There was talk about bringing Michelle Gowdy from VML back to address council or even the citizens of the town, and I'm wondering if that will be done.
It will be done. The reason it hasn't been done, I don't know if you, and I know you noticed because you've been there, but the agendas for the last 2 to 3 months have already been pretty full with things that had to be taken care of. So, you know, we need to find a time when we don't have an agenda that is quite as full and going to turn into a lengthy meeting. And actually ask her to come and sit there that long, number one, and number two, to be able to have the time that if council would like to ask her questions and have conversation with her, to be able to allow that. It's just been, it's not been forgotten, it's just been waiting for the appropriate time to be able to bring it on the agenda to give it the time it needs.
Thank you.
What's the status of the water leak?
I couldn't hear you.
Status of the water leak.
Which water leak?
Yeah, the one that's coming out onto Main Street, Bridgeway and Main.
All right, first of all, that's not the water leak. That is a valve leaking that we created when we were addressing the water leak under the bridge. The major water leak is under the bridge. Contract has been issued for that. The holdup at this point in time is being able for the contractor to obtain the materials and the pipes and the pipe that they need for that. I talked to the owner of Atkins Excavating actually about 10 minutes before I came here tonight. Confirmed that they are still in the process of procuring the materials for that, but they hope to be in there on that project the first week in August. And they anticipate about a 30 to 40 day completion date on that. The water that you see in Ridgeway Street will be the actual last part of that process that will be repaired, because that's 3 valve insertions. We have to make that the last part of the water line project, because if we don't and we do that first, then we're going to have to cut the water off to all the customers that are served to that line. So we need to leave that to the very last portion. So I think you're going to see that water on Ridgeway Street probably at least through the end of August. But we do have a contract issued, and the ball's in their court. The permits have been obtained, and now they're waiting on material delivery.
Thank you.
With the recent heat, is it at all possible to put a splash park under the bridge?
Well, it's probably already there.
Just was curious, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel on some things, is it possible to reach out to other comparable communities? And again, nothing's exactly one-to-one replication, but say something comparable like Lewisburg, West Virginia, and how they've proceeded, and maybe some of the broad outlines of what they've done in order to pursue economic development. So that way, hopefully we could get some lessons learned from someone else rather than having to try to scratch it all out of the earth ourselves.
Actually, we've done that, and we're doing that. And I don't know how many people in the room realize, but the facade grant that the town